Hello students, welcome to Daily Chronicles by Abhiram Ias. So today we'll be talking about the important articles from the various papers, and the articles have been selected are anti-defection law, and we'll be also talking about reciprocal tariffs, and we'll be talking about the global warming and the impact of global warming on the glaciers, and we'll be also talking about Google tax and also about the Black Sea. Okay, chalo, let's start. So, the first article is about anti-defection. Now, why this anti-defection is in news? Because SE is considering question of timeline for the speakers to decide on defections. So, basically what happened, BRS leaders have filed the case against 10 MLAs who has been won in BRS party and then again shifted into the Congress party. Okay, then they have been said that you have to take the anti-defection law against them, and they have filed a petition in Supreme Court. Who is heading that? B.R. Gawai is heading that. Okay. Now, let's talk more about the anti-defection. First, what is this anti-defection law? So basically, this law punishes any MPs or MLAs for switching the parties. Like, they will win in one party, and if the government is another party, then they will switch from one party to other party, their winning party to the ruling party. That is your defection. So for this, there is an anti-defection law which is punishing the MPs or MLAs for switching the parties after the elections. Now, this is added through the 52nd Amendment Act, okay, in the year 1985 as the part of 10 schedule. There are 12 schedules in the 12 schedules. You have to remember those 12 schedules, which is important for the exam. Okay, and this 10 schedule is dealing with the anti-defection. Okay, now this is enacted to prevent the political instability. For the political stability purpose, this law have been made. Now, further, let's see what are the grounds for disqualification. There are basically 4 grounds. 1, if an elected member voluntarily gives up his membership from the party. So basically, if the elected member is give up from the membership of that particular party, then he comes into anti-defection law. Now next, if a member votes against the party discretions, if a member is voting against the party discretions in the legislature, then he comes into anti-defection. So basically this is if he is acting against the whip of the party. Now further, if an independent candidate joins a party after the elections, if an independent candidate joins the party after the elections, and further, nominated members joining the party after 6 months. Remember, nominated members joining after 6 months. So grounds, there are 4 grounds. What are they? Elected member voluntarily giving up the membership. Second, if a member is voting against a party discretion. Third, if an independent candidate joining the party after the elections, and a nominated member joining other party after 6 months of elections. Right? Now, why it is, what are the exemptions? So basically, if 2/3 of members of that particular party are joining the other party, then there is no anti-defection for them. So if 2/3 of members are joining or switching the party, then there is no defection for them. Okay. So simply, it is allowing the wholesale, but it is not allowing the retail. Like one member, if he is jumping into other party, there is an anti-defection. But whereas 2/3, if they are jumping, the wholesale bunch of members are jumping, then there is no anti-defection. Okay, and so basically it was 1/3, but due to this 91st Constitutional Amendment Act, it has been into 2/3. Okay. Now, another thing also, if the speaker or chairman voluntarily giving up the membership, but after their term, if they're rejoining, there is no anti-defection for them. Okay, that is for transparency. Okay. Now, who has this decision-making authority? Basically, Speaker of Lok Sabha and Chairman of Rajya Sabha has the decision-making authority. And remember, there is no time frame. Like there is no limited time frame or time. So the law does not specify any time frame for the deciding defection cases. Now, why this anti-defection law is important? Because to create the political stability, to prevent the political instability and to create the political stability. Now, also strengthening the democracy and further to reduce the corruption. Okay, now because like if the MLA or MP is switching for money, then this anti-defection comes into picture. Okay, now next, let's see the negative effects of this defection. What happens when a person from one party switches to another party? Same, suppression of electoral mandates, that means there is creating some political vacuum. So legislature switching parties for the personal gain undermines the democracy, right? Now also government instability. If all the persons moving to the other party, what happens? Government may fall. There are chances of falling of government, right? And see, there was a person in 1967, Gaya Ram. This person in one day itself, he switched 3 parties. In one day itself, he switched 3 parties. So from then, there was a phrasing like Aya Ram, Gaya Ram. In one day, 3 parties. Okay. So, and also it encourages the horse trading. That means leading to bribery and corruption in the political deals. Right? See, why one person shifts to other party? Because of power or because of money. Right? Now, it also weakens the debate and discussions. Okay, the legislature must follow the party directives blindly, reducing the independent decision making. Okay, let's see a quick recap again. So, a quick recap of anti-defection. It is added by the 52nd Amendment Act 1985 in the 10th schedule. What is the purpose? To prevent the defection and political instability majorly. And for whom it applies? It applies to MPs and also MLAs. MPs from Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, right? MLAs from the State Assembly. And who is the decision maker? Speaker of Lok Sabha and Chairman of Rajya Sabha. And Speaker of Assembly also. Okay. Now, judicial review. Yes, it is allowed for the judicial review. You can, judiciary can review it. And it is allowed in the Clinton Holocan case in the year 1992. Right? Before there was no judicial review. From this case onwards, there is judicial review. Now, who are accepted? Who are exempted? Basically, if two-thirds of people are merging, then there is an exemption. In how it is added? Through 91st Amendment Act. Basically, it was 1/3, but after 91st, it has been changed to 2/3. Remember the constitutional amendments, 91st and 52nd Amendment. Okay, and 10th schedule. This is all about the anti-defection. Simple. Now, moving to the next article. The next article is about reciprocal tariffs. Okay, what the article is telling basically. So, the Minister of Commerce and Industry, what he told, there are no reciprocal tariffs imposed by US on India, says the center. Now, the Minister of State for Commerce and Industry says that government is engaging with US to negotiate a multi-sectoral bilateral trade agreement. Now, before knowing about this reciprocal tariff, before going to talk about this reciprocal tariff, let's see a small example. Now, to avoid the wastage of time, I have written it. So, what is the simple example here is, consider 2 countries, X and Y. X and Y. Now, for suppose this X country is imposing 20% of tariffs on steel from country Y. Then what does this country Y do in the retaliation? This country Y also keeps 20% tariffs on apples from country X. So what is happening here? This X country is keeping 20% tariffs on Y country for some goods, and in return, what is Y country doing? It is also keeping 20% of tariffs on other goods from country X. So basically, give and take policy, right? If you are giving tariffs, then I will also give tariffs, just like simply give and take policy, right? So now, what is this resulting to? Trade war. And now what happens? Both the products will be expensive in the market, right? So this is a simple example of reciprocal tariff. In the name itself, it is telling reciprocal. If you keep the tariffs, then I will also keep the tariffs. Simple. Now, what are reciprocal tariffs? Let's see the clear example. Let's see the clear definition of it. So reciprocal tariffs refers to import duties imposed by one country in response to tariffs levied by another country on its exports, right? And these tariffs are used to ensure fair trade practices and also prevent trade imbalances. Now, next. What are the key features of this reciprocal tariffs? Why it is there? So, retaliatory measure. If you are imposing, then I will impose on you. So, impose to country trade barrier set by the another country, right? Then other thing is aim for fair trade. Now, encourages trading partners to remove the discriminatory tariffs. Now, third one, WTO regulations. Yes, it is allowed because, see, basically WTO allows countervailing duty and also this one. Okay, if there are high reciprocal tariffs, then WTO comes into the picture telling do not impose high amount of tariffs. Then also trade negotiation tool. It acts as trade negotiation where it is used to bring countries to negotiate table for better trade agreements. Right? Now basically India and US are under this trade negotiations. Okay, under this trade negotiations. And now it is now India is telling that there will be no reciprocal tariffs by US. So now let's see the recent examples. What happened in the 2018? So basically there was US-China trade. Then what happened? US has imposed tariffs on Chinese goods, and then in return China has been imposed tariffs on soybean and pork of US. Then next in the same way, US and EU tariffs. What happened? US has been imposed tariffs on steel and goods, taxes on steel and goods. Then as an answer, what does the EU done? EU has been imposed taxes on bourbon whiskey, agriculture goods and also motorcycles. And further, in same 2018, US-Canada tariffs. If you can see in the same year, US has imposed tariffs on China, US has imposed tariffs on EU, US has been imposed tariffs on Canada. In return, what they have done? They too impose tariffs on US goods. Okay. And next, India-US tariff dispute. So basically, this is important for us. You can write us our example. US has been imposed tariffs on steel and aluminium products. In return, what does India done? It has imposed the tariffs on almonds and apples. So what happens? They both became expensive in the market. Right? And also Mexico-US tariffs in the same lines. Okay. Remember this. You can use the examples for mains. Now further, if we see, let's see the impacts. Let's see the positive impacts and negative impacts. When they ask a question, like critically examine about the reciprocal tariffs. You need to write the examples. What are reciprocal tariffs? You have to mention those, and you also have to write about positive impacts and also negative impacts. Critically examine. Okay. Now, what are the positive effects? It protects the domestic market. Yes, it protects the domestic market from unfair competition, and it encourages the negotiation of balanced trade agreements, and it also ensures equal treatment. Okay, equal treatment for both the countries in trade relations. Now, what is the negative impacts? It may lead to trade wars, right? Increase in product prices, increase in cost for businesses and consumers, and also disrupts the global chain supply. Yes, global chain supply and economic stability, and could violate the WTO norms, leading to the disputes. Okay, let's see again the impacts. Positive effects to protect the domestic market from unfair competition, and it encourages the negotiation of balanced trade agreements, and it also ensures there is a free equal treatment for both the countries in trade relations. And what is the negative effect here? It leads to trade war, increase of prices of goods and services, right? It is disrupting the global market, and also economic stability may violate, disrupt, and also could violate the WTO norms, leading to the disputes. Now, let's see the top 5, this is top 5 export commodities to the US. What India's top 5 commodities to the US are. So on the rank 1 we have drug formulation and biologicals. Okay, remember. And in the second we are having pearls, precious and semi-precious stones. As third rank it is petroleum products, and fourth telecom instruments, and fifth gold and other precious metal jewelry. So this is basically the top 5 India exports to US. Okay, this is important for the prelims perspective. Okay, these are the top 5 exports of India to the US. Now let's see the next article. This is very important article. Okay, the article is how global warming is affecting the mountain regions across the world. Let's see the article detail, and this article is in context of one report, that is United Nations World Water Development Report 2025. Okay, I'm repeating again. United Nations World Water Development Report 2025. Mountains, and it is talking about the mountains and glaciers. Okay. Now, it is talking about glacier melting. First, what are glaciers? Okay, it is telling what is happening in the glaciers. Glaciers are melting. Why? Let's see why, but let's know what are glaciers. What are glaciers here? Simply, large masses of ice, right? Large masses of ice that formed over the centuries through the accumulation and compression of snow. Okay, so snowfall, right? It is accumulated and forming the glacier. Right here you can see it is the glacier. Now they slowly move under their own weight and act as frozen reservoirs of fresh water. Right? Now, they exist in high altitude mountain ranges like the Himalayas, Alps, Rockies and Andes. Is that clear? What are glaciers here? Simply nothing but the accumulation of snow, and they are forming our glaciers. They are found in Himalayas, Alps, Andes and Rocky Mountains. Right? Now, why are these glaciers melting? We all know the major reason is global warming. Right? What is global warming? Increase of temperatures due to greenhouse gases. What are the major greenhouse gases? Carbon dioxide, methane, nitrogen oxide, right? From human activities like burning of fossil fuels and also deforestation. Okay. Now, what is happening? This warmer temperatures is causing ice to melt easily within very few years. Okay. To melt, then it is replenished by snowfall, leading to the mass loss. Okay. So, simply, what is glacier melting? Melting of glaciers. What are glaciers? Large masses of ice formed due to the accumulation of snowfall. Now, further, why? Now, what is happening? So, basically, let's see the role of black carbon on the glaciers melting. Now, what is this black carbon? What is this black carbon? If you can see the smoke emitted from this. Okay, it is accumulating on top of the glaciers as black soot. Now what happens if this black carbon is accumulating on these glaciers is turning into black. Now what does the black color does? So black color absorbs the sunlight, right? Black color absorbs the sunlight. Due to this absorption of sunlight, what is happening? Glaciers melting is happening, right? Is it clear? So what is black carbon? Black carbon is particulate matter released from burning fossil fuels, biomass and wildfires. You can see here. Now how this is affecting the glaciers? This black carbon gets deposited on the snow and ice surfaces, darkening them. And what does the dark surfaces does? This dark surfaces absorb more solar radiation, and this solar radiation is leading to melting of the glaciers. So as the exam is approaching, do not go into the sun. Okay, and if you are going into the sun, then wear light colored clothes. Now, what is the consequences of this glacier melting? See, basically fresh water crisis, right? You can see in summers you are having a water crisis. Okay, nearly 2 billion people depend on the glaciers, which fed rivers for the drinking water, irrigation and also hydropower. And also there will be sea level rise, right? If glaciers are melting, that will lead to sea level rise, right? And also glacial lake outburst floods will occur. Glacial lake outburst floods, okay? So melting of glaciers from unstable lakes which can burst suddenly, causing deadly flash floods, right? Now, next, let's see about the permafrost thawing. Now, what is permafrost here? Okay, let's see. So, permafrost is permanently frozen ground that remains below 0 degrees Celsius for at least 2 consecutive years. Okay, this is permafrost. You can see here, permafrost. Okay, so what is permafrost? It is permanently frozen ground for at least 2 consecutive years. Now, it is found in high altitude mountains like Himalayas, Rocky Mountains, Alps and Andes, and also polar regions like Antarctica, Arctic, Siberian regions, Canada and also Alaska. Now, why is this permafrost starving again? Same, due to global warming, right? Yes, rising global temperatures melt the frozen soil, causing it to release the trapped greenhouse gases. So basically, this permafrost traps the greenhouse gases, okay. Now, as these greenhouse gases are melting, what is happening? Release of greenhouse gases is occurring, like carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, right? Now, further, what is the consequences of this? See, as the greenhouses are releasing, what happens? Increase of temperature again. So, carbon release and climate change acceleration. Permafrost stores 4.5% of global soil organic compound, and when it thaws, this all carbon will be released, right? So, when it thaws, the carbon decomposes, releasing CO2 and methane, intensifying the global warming, right? Now, increased landslides and infrastructure damage occurs, okay. Now, okay, in the report itself, they have given decline in snowfall also. Yes, what is snow cover? Sorry, decline in snow cover. What is snow cover? You know, basically the snow is covering, snow coverage, that is called snow cover. Snow cover refers to the total area of land covered by snow and ice at any given point of time. Now, what it includes? It includes new snowfall and existing snow that has been not yet melted. That is snow cover. Now, what is happening? So, snow cover decline. Why? Less amount of snow is falling due to due to increase in temperatures, global rise in temperature. So, what is the scientific evidence for this? Basically, a study published in Nature 2024 found that global persistent mountain snow cover decreased by 7.79% from the year 1992 to 2022. Okay, this was a report given, scientific evidence report. As you can see, spring and summer snow cover has shrunk significantly in most of the mountain regions. Now, what is happening due to this decline in snow cover? There is reduced water supply and there is ecosystem disruptions is occurring. Okay, so snow acts as a natural water reservoir, gradually releasing water as it melts. So early melting of the snow disrupts the river flows, causing water shortages during the dry months, like in summer months. And also there is ecosystem disruptions, as many plants and animal species depend on snow for the habitat and survival. Reduced snow cover threatens the biodiversity. So it is everything interlinked. Now, let's see this 2025 has been declared as International Year of Glaciers Preservation also, and there are other two like which is supporting the quantums and cooperatives also, but 2022 one of the thing is that International Year of Glacier Preservation. That is why we are talking in detail about this glaciers melting. Okay, now what is the objective? Now, who declared this? UN, United Nations, right? What is the objective for this declaration? To raise the awareness about the rapid melting of glaciers and also to promote their preservation. Now, what is the significance of these glaciers? As we saw now, for water and ecosystem storage. So, these glaciers are very crucial for fresh water supply, climate regulation and biodiversity. So, their melting leads to the rising of sea levels, water scarcity and also biodiversity disturbance, that is ecological imbalances. Okay, ecological imbalances. Sorry. Now, what is the key concern? Why we are concerning about this glaciers? As we saw, glacial floods, glacier burst outflow, glacial lake outburst of floods, okay, and accelerated glacier melting leads to global warming, right, and also impact on freshwater resources for billions of people, contributing to the rising of sea levels also. Now, further, what is the scientific basis for this? As we saw, the report has been given 7.79% of decline, okay. And what is the global impact? It affects the water supply and also creates the ecological disturbances and it also causes the glacial lake outburst floods, right. This is all about the glacier melting. Amma, this is important in mains perspective. This article is very much important for the mains perspective, as UN also has been declared International Years of Glaciers. Okay, glacier melting. Now, let's move to the next article. What is next article? About the Google tax. What is Google tax? Let's see. But before that, let's see why this article is in news. This article is in news because US tariff pressure, why India has decided to abolish the Google tax. Okay, here they have given the equalization levy definition. So by definition, equalization levy is a levy to equalize the tax component of a resident e-commerce company as well as a non-resident e-commerce company. And here the definition is very clear. See, an equalization levy is a levy to equalize the tax component of a resident e-commerce company as well as non-resident e-commerce company. Please do note this definition. Okay, this can be asked in the exam. Okay, now let's see what is an equalization levy. So basically, let's talk about one example. I'm a company from X country. Okay, so there is a company in X country. For suppose, let's take Google. Okay, now as a Y company, I have to give Google ads. Okay, but this Google is in which country? X country. Now what this Y country does? If this X country is charging like 10 lakhs, I will charge, this Y country will charge 6% levy. Okay, as tariff, as tax. Now what happens? I need to pay only 9.6 lakhs. Okay. 10%, sorry, 10 lakhs, 6% of tax, what happens? 60,000 loss, okay, 9.4%, 9.4%. Now 60,000 will be reduced. Why? Because this is an X company in my country, that is in domestic country. So I will levy the 6% tax, that is called as equalization levy. Let's see the example now. What is equalization levy? So the equalization levy is a tax India imposed on foreign tech companies like Google, Meta and Amazon for earning revenue from digital services in India, because you are establishing your markets in India, right? So that is why I am charging like 6% of levy, that is tax on the tech companies like Google, Meta, Amazon, etc. Now, why it is introduced? Because India wanted to equalize the taxes between Indian and foreign e-commerce companies, okay, ensuring both paid for a fair share of tax on digital ads and other online services, right? Now, further if we see, it is introduced in 2016 to tax foreign digital companies earning from the Indian users. So 6% of levy is applied on online advertisements from non-resident companies, and further there was 2% levy extended to e-commerce platforms, but it was removed in the year 2014. And why? It is aiming to ensure the tax parity between Indian and foreign digital businesses. As the simple example, see, X country and Y country. This X country is keeping a tech company in domestic market, that is Y company. Then what is this tech market? Then what is this Y company doing? It is simply keeping 6% of tax on this for any online services or digital services it is producing in the in the Y country. Simple. Now, why it is being removed now? So basically India is planning to remove this equalization levy. Okay, why? Because of US opposition. US is opposing it, and also trade relations, to stabilize the trade relations between India and US, and further global tax reforms, and also political stability or policy stabilities. Okay. Now, what is the impact of this removal? There are 3 positives: strengthening US-India trade relations, and also encouraging the foreign investment in India's digital sector, and also aligning with the international tax reforms. But there is one negative, that is loss of direct tax revenue from foreign tech firms, right? This is one of its negative impact. Now, let's see the next article, that is about the Black Sea. Now, why it is in news? Because Russia and Ukraine agree on safety shipping in Black Sea brokered by the US. Okay. with terms of US. So Russia and Ukraine has been agreed on safety of shipping in the Black Sea. Now in this context, it is important to know about Black Sea. Now let's see the geographical significance of this geographical history. Now where it is located between the Eastern Europe and Western Asia. Eastern Europe and Western Asia. Okay, right? Now what are the bordering countries? Russia, Ukraine, Romania, Bulgaria, Turkey and Georgia. You can remember burger tea, that mnemonics burger tea, where B for Bulgaria, U for Ukraine, R for Russia, and here this indicates Georgia, and another R for Romania and T for Turkey, right? Burger tea. What are the Black Sea bordering countries? You can remember this easily. Okay, burger tea. Now what are the water bodies connected? So basically Mediterranean Sea via the Bosporus Strait and also Dardanelles Strait in the Turkey. Okay, and also Sea of Azov via the Kerch Strait. And the important rivers flowing into it are Danube, Dniester, Dnieper and Don. Okay, let's see this thing. So Black Sea is surrounded by Russia. You can see here Georgia, Turkey, Bulgaria and Romania, and upper part is Ukraine. Okay, where it is located in between the Eastern Europe and also in the Western Asia, right? Now it is connected to the water bodies like Mediterranean Sea via the Bosporus Strait. You can see here Sea of Azov, and here it is the Bosporus Strait. Okay, right? And Dardanelles near the Turkey, and Sea of Azov via the Kerch Strait. And the important rivers are Danube, Dniester, Dnieper and also Don. Okay, this is about the Black Sea. And these are the articles for today. Thank you.